pretty exciting. I get to wear this astronaut helmet again. Because, you know, space movie.
This is Project Hail Mary. The sun is not the only star dying.
Every star was infected by its neighbor, except one.
Why?
We don't know.
Which is why we built a ship to go there and find out.
It's 11.9 light years away.
The astronauts die in space.
It's what you Americans would call a long shot.
Hail Mary. I get it. Who on earth is going to sign up for this?
Straight to the top. To the moon. Project Hail Mary met the hype. It has the juice. This keeps falling down. Still lots of films and blockbusters later this year, but I'll say this right at the top. Project Hail Mary, so far, is my favorite movie this year. Let's talk about it. Project Hail Mary, to me, is basically Interstellar, but through a lens that gives hope, or the feeling of hope. And we get there because of, one, Ryan Gosling's Grace, and two, James Ortiz's Rocky. Their characters, the relationship, to me, is just centered around finding both compassion and confidence in others, and still not being afraid to ask for help. I wanted to start here because this truly gave me joy. Like, I really fell in love with Grace and Rocky's relationship, their friendship. And usually movies set in space, you know, like I mentioned, Interstellar, where space as a setting can be genuinely terrifying. Usually those movies, you know, really sit in that feeling and we feel that dread. And this movie does have that, but it intently, like, drowns it out, or at least combats it, you know, through this motif that Grace and Rocky, you know, working together and bonding as friends. It truly was, you know, I think the best part of this film, and establishing that, you know, like I said, that space depression, that isolation that these films often have, to combat that purposely through those two characters, just really worked well. But yeah, I mean, you gotta love Ryan Gosling. He's definitely one of my faves. You know, I loved him in Blade Runner 2049, Drive, From Beyond the Pines, and his more comedic roles like Barbie. He's done a lot, though, and there's still many I haven't seen, but he's definitely one of my faves, and he didn't disappoint in this film. He, along with the writers, screenplay writers, really delivered on a great protagonist who, despite lacking confidence, you know, has useful knowledge, and, you know, is aloof but funny. And, you know, then we have Rocky, who, you know, felt very alien on one hand, but still had the humanity that we could connect with. And I believe for the most part, Rocky was a puppet. We'll get more into special effects shortly, but yeah, Rocky's acting, I guess you could say, was perfect to add to the character. And there's so many moments and scenes, both of them separately and together, that were just so fun and impactful. One of my favorite scenes was when they're learning how they eat, how each other eat. That one was really funny. There's so many scenes, though, where just like, both, you know, where it's serious and comedic, that just worked so well. And that's just a testament to the great execution by Gosling and Rocky's puppets and his voice actor Ortiz. And they just absolutely nailed it. It's easily my favorite part of the movie. Like, you know, how long this movie is, it wouldn't have worked if there wasn't that chemistry together. Now, you can't have a great space adventure movie, in my opinion, without great cinematography and sets and, you know, space scenes. And yeah, this is my second favorite thing about this movie, is just the sense of scale and the color palettes. And shout out cinematographer Greg Fraser. I didn't know he even did this movie until afterwards, but he's done Rogue One, The Batman, The Creator, and some of my favorite sci-fi movies and just movies in general, Dune Part 1 and Part 2. I don't think he's on the third one, unfortunately, but Denis Villeneuve's still directing, so I think it'll still be great. But he knows how to shoot sci-fi movies for sure and create that scale and that, you know, epicness, I guess you can say, for these type of movies. But yeah, Fraser was so good with the spaceship and the planets. There's a scene where Grace is, you know, out on the outside of the ship, you know, and there's all the greens and the green planet side just like reflecting on his helmet, and just the scale and everything, once again, just tying it all together there. It's just an amazing scene, a beautiful scene. But, you know, just shout out to cinematographer Greg Fraser there. And then we also had the ship itself, which most of our movie takes place in. Actually, after watching the movie, I think that same night, I watched a couple of Adam Savage's YouTube videos where he got to be on the set and talk to some of the set designers of this movie. And it made me appreciate it even more, just like architecture of like how they made the set work, how they were able to like do the, you know, no gravity scenes, or when the ship is spinning and having different angles and stuff. It was just really, really impressive. And I'm definitely like a sucker for all the buttons and lights inside in the interior, and they really go in depth in the interview there, Savage's interview there, where they go in depth of like how they made that work and why they chose like how the layout of all the buttons, just the attention to detail really shows in this movie. And you know, it's pretty close to real spaceships and planes from what they were saying, and I think just that added to the realism, but still felt sci-fi, right? And then, I mean, we gotta talk about Rocky's spaceship too, right? Like, that was just so sweet too. I mean, it was so like angular and, you know, just literally out of this world, pun intended, and just looked, you know, just very mind-numbing in a way, right? It just really truly captured what like I feel like an alien ship would look like. You know, something that we can understand a little bit from the outside, but something that we couldn't comprehend how it would be constructed and operated. It just really looked truly out of this world. Now let's talk about the plot and the story itself. This is based off a book. Should have mentioned that at the start, but yeah, Andy Weir, the author, also wrote The Martian, which I still need to watch. Still, I will admit I have not seen it. I've heard good things, but I don't know why I never saw it. You know, the plot was really, really cool. Really, really cool. It's quickly introduced, and it kicks off, you know, our story right away, really. We get right into it. But yeah, sun-eating microbes, which is terrifying, but simple enough, and also just really cool conceptually, like something very straightforward for general audiences to understand. You never want to, I think with science fiction, I think that's what makes science fiction such a tough genre sometimes, is you don't want to like make it too scientific, you know what I mean? Let the visual show how they need to show to get the point across, or they need to tell you in a way that is easy to understand, but you also don't want to dumb it down. And I feel like they, you know, this, credit to the book again, I'm sure this is in the book, you know, credit to that is that it's easy to understand even the science aspects throughout this movie. It's really easy to like pick up on, even if you don't have to understand the inner workings of every little thing. It's straightforward enough. It's easy to understand. But it's truly cool that they established that Earth's countries and scientists are scrambling, you know, work together with everything going on in our world. I feel like it's hard to believe that that could happen, but I think this adds to our theme of hope. Honestly, our main theme of hope in this movie, in our story here, is, you know, they all have the compassion for one another to try to find a solution, you know, to save Earth and also the universe in a way. You know, and they have the confidence in one another to find a solution, or at least, you know, Grace, you know, is given that confidence despite his own lack of confidence throughout this film. But they have to find a solution because they have to. And like I said, I compared it to Interstellar earlier, and Interstellar definitely has more of that dread feeling. Even at the climax of the film, you know, that movie, I guess in a way, I wouldn't say it has a true happy ending, but like, you know, despite all this, despite this being like having a movie about serious, you know, things like the universe dying, the Earth dying, people dying, and people do die in this movie, you know, and we're in space, there's the isolation, all that, again, like I mentioned before, there is still the confidence and the hope there. And I just really resonate with the spirit of this film, and it's, like I said, it's the characters and the plot itself, you know. It's just that despite it being potentially world-ending, you have to have the confidence to figure it out, find a solution. And like I said, with everything happening politically in this world, I think there's some element that we need to hear more stories like this, where it's like, yes, shit is bad, but that doesn't mean we give up. That doesn't mean we become doom and gloom. Myself, I struggle with that all the time. I pay attention. I engage and pay attention to current events all the time, and it's really easy to fall into that trap. But I think I like this movie. I like this movie's just main message of hope and having confidence to, find a way, or at least maybe you have blind optimism, and there's an element of need for that in our trying times. But yeah, I mean, I think those are the real big things I liked about the movie. It's just the characters, just the sets and the cinematography and the special effects. A lot of it was practical effects, a lot of it. And it just, you wouldn't think that, seeing this type of movie, so a lot of it was practical effects. And then, like I said, the plot and the story, just everything was hitting on all cylinders, and it just, yeah, I mean, it's, I just really like those big things, and I really love this film, and why it's currently number 1 on my top 5 movies for 2026 so far. Like I said, a long year to go still. We're only in March, but I had such a blast with this movie. It's a great space adventure film, just fantastic characters and story, amazing sets, and powerful scenes. And yeah, this was just so great. Rocky's the best. Everyone loves Rocky. Grace gets a happy ending. I mean, he doesn't get to go back home, but he finds his home, right? He has an opportunity to keep teaching. Really just loved his ending. I was so glad he didn't die. I think that would have been a buzzkill, or even if Rocky died. That the fact that both of them lived and are still friends, and the Earth and the universe itself, Rocky's planet as well, survives, and it was just a happy ending for a movie that easily could have been a depressing ending, and honestly would have been a buzzkill if, like I said, if our main characters died or the Earth perishes. That would have been really depressing for this type of, the tone of this movie. Cool. I think that's everything I wanted to say, so let's rank this. It's 5 stars on Letterboxd for me. I'm going to give this a, well, my barometer isn't always consistent, but I always say it's more fun to love films and rank things high. I think this is an S on a S through F score. I mean, on Letterboxd, even though I give out a lot of 5s, and I feel like I've been giving out A's and S's on here, I'm not keeping track. I don't really have any definitions of my scores like we do on the Sock Movie Show, where we rank video game movies. But it just feels right. It just feels right to give this one an S. Bucket S, 5 stars. All right, thanks everyone for watching. Let me know what you think of Project Hail Mary and how you'd rank it. If you want to hear me yap more about movies, don't fret. There's other movie review videos like this one that I've done for the last year and a half. But I've been streaming every other week on this channel for about an hour and a half, just talking about movies, movie news, industry news, and other things I've been watching. It's a little bit more raw compared to this. But please, feel free to jump in on one of those streams and, let me know what you've been watching. And man, this year, I keep looking at like the schedule of movies that are coming out, and I feel like this is the start, and we're just gonna roll all the way to December. I mean, there's just so, I feel like we have a lot of great movies coming up, and even a lot of them being science fiction too. So maybe this is a year for science fiction. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a great year for movies, and I would love to take that journey with you. So feel free to subscribe if you're interested, and I'll see you next time. See you at the movies.